Peace, Vandals and Vandalettes. It's the God Mathematics, and you now watching the infamous Vandal Hour Season 9 live on S.STREET Media. Make sure you check us out every week on our S.STREET Media YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on our Instagram and Facebook platforms at the Vandal Hour. Shout out to everybody that has been supporting us, man, watching the show. Shout out to everybody that's been DMing us photos and videos for us to repost on our channel. Again, we've been doing this for 8 years and 11 months exactly, you know, and we still going strong. We're still getting love. So shout out to all of our supporters, man. The Vandal Hour wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your word. Now, you know we have another dope show planned for you as always. Tonight, we got the family in the building. They now have a media company that's doing big things, and they go by the name of Graff. And tonight we also supposed to have a super producer, our Vandal Hour family, the General, cover COD in the building. Hopefully he'll get here on time. We also have what's the brother name?
Jimmy.
We also got Jimmy in the building. You heard, supporting the God, you know. So we always like to give our kudos to all the people that supporting what we're doing. Also, shout out to the Vandal Hour guards and goddesses that help build this platform with me. People like Facts on Wax, DJ Swift, Sosa, June 4, 5, 7, J Lo, AC2, Paris, Dre Kill Films, Darwin, Queens, The Other Mathematics, The Brat, Giggles, and so many more, man. Without them, it will be no Vandal Hour, man. You heard? And that's a fact, though. For the people that might not be familiar with this part of the show, but this is when we get into the Vandal Hour News. Now, for the people who might not know what the Vandal Hour News is, it's basically us highlighting things that's happening in the Graff culture. We don't care about what's on the news, even though we do news shit, but we like to focus on the Vandals. We like to focus on the writers that have become business owners and stuff like that. So we like to highlight those people. Shout out to Barman Science on Instagram. We jack a lot of shit off their page. Big Piddles. We take a lot of shit off their page. They always got some fly shit going on. So shout out to Barman Science, man. We use a lot of their stuff, so we want to highlight them. You know what I mean? Shout out to Lowbrow, man. Who is a spot that has graffiti products for sale. You heard, they got the Pisney, they got the caps, they have shows there. Shout out to Lowbrow. They also was on our show a few seasons back. You could check it out on our S.STREET Media YouTube channel, or that might be on DTF's YouTube channel. Wherever it's at, make sure you support it. Watch what's going on. He's definitely elevated since the last time I spoke to him. So shout out to those businesses that's doing their thing in this industry. But this is what we get into this week in the no part itself. I fucked up. So I switched it around. I said, yeah, I fucked up. But this is when we get into this week in Vandals flexing. I'm high. I was smoking before the show. You know how that go. I'm a smoker, man. You know, I smoke a lot of weed, man. Dudes is like smoking a whole lot of ganja before the shit was going down. So, you know, shout out to all the 420 heads out there. We know, you know who you are. But this week in Vandals flexing, man, and I did do it correctly. I think I just fucked up and forgot that I said it. This weekend, Vandal's flexing. These are the people that we've been seeing. We used to highlight them on our actual page, which we will be doing again. We'll be taking pictures of the people who we see flexing. Flexing means people who's getting busy right now, who's outside, who's doing what they do. You know, that's the people who we highlight. And I'm gonna say, last week we highlighted some dope artists, some dope writers, but this week I also got some dudes that been doing their thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to say, murdering shit, billboards and all, man, everywhere, different boroughs and all that shit. Shout out to who that person is. Shout out to Funk, man, who we also interviewed on the Vandal Hour during the pandemic. Great interview. He's also doing this thing right now in the media blog space, so check him out. Check out what he's doing. Also, man, I've been seeing this dude, man, everywhere. MTMW. That dude is putting in a lot of pain right now, man. I see that shit everywhere, floating on the side of buildings and everything. Also, man, a dude named Crime, Krime. He's also doing this thing, man. He bombs a lot with Scam, who also is doing this thing. And also, shout out to Scam, man. Scam does clothing too, man. I don't want to shout out nobody's Instagram page, but if you know Scam's Instagram page, check him out. He got clothes on his page too. He's a designer also. He's doing some dope shit, man. Besides the Graff shit, man. Check out these people, man. They are really flexing. These are the people who keep the culture alive. If there's no bombers, there's no culture. If there's no one doing illegal shit, there is no culture. So shout out to all of those people who's still outside, man. And shout out to those people who's bombing outside of the pandemic. Because a lot of people was getting busy during the pandemic. But once the pandemic stopped, man, a lot of people you do not see anymore. Respectfully, man. Now, before we get into our dope guest that we have here, man, I also want to say, man, if you're following us on Instagram, we had a few things we put up on our Instagram page this week that was important, I believe. We have a new episode of the Vandal Hour, Season 9, Episode 1, has Slash, FTR, and Xavier Sosa on that episode. The episode is crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. The numbers is looking good for the first week. We haven't been back in a long time. So shout out to everyone who watched the episode. We appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment. Don't be a ghost rider. Or for the people who don't know what a ghost rider is, that is a ghost follower. We don't need those people around. We want people to interact, conversate, use our platform to network and give your expressions on what's going on that we're doing. Maybe you want to see us interview someone. Maybe you want to see us go in another direction. Whatever it is, please let us know in those comment sections. Shout out to also recently I was at Boone Street Walls, and I just want to shout out to all the writers that was there, man. It was fucking fire. We put up some videos and pictures on our on our Vandal Hour page. Make sure you check it out. We seen people like Skin, TMT. We seen Blame. We seen Dre Kill Films. We see the FX crew. We also see shit with COD crew. There was a lot of different artists there. Shout out to Lazarus also, Lazarus the Dawn. He was one of those people that was there. He's part of an organization called RAP. Shout out to RAP. They help people in prison who was unfairly sentenced. You know, it's called RAPP. Shout out to what they're doing, all the work they're doing, helping brothers get out of the prison. And even with the brothers who get out of prison on a regular time, they're helping them find jobs, helping them integrate back into the community correctly. So shout out to everybody who's working at RAP. But yeah, I just gotta say, you know, I gotta talk to the people, man. I got a dope guest. I know y'all want to hear from him. So we're gonna get into this person right here. He is my childhood friend, man. I knew him since I was probably 14, 15 years old. You heard? We used to be at the DTF meetings at the Peace Factories. If you don't know about those days, you probably don't understand what was going on. It was a lot of crews there. MBK, DTF, AMK, KED, YO, so many prevalent crews of that time. You know, you might seen Ever there. You might see Large there. You might see a Rav there. Rest in peace, CS, Frim, 2 Rage. I could go on for days, man. It was where you either squashed beef, handled beef, what we was plotting on next, you know, and then after we did that, we usually got on the train and just like raw people snatch hats, go to down to Manhattan, steal food from the Frankfurter stand, pause, steal shit, whatever you can get your hands on, go bombing a little bit in between that. It was ruckus on a Saturday. So it is my pleasure and the Vandal Hour's pleasure, man, to introduce to you the face and the mind behind Graff Champs S.STREET.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yo, I'm gonna say, man, we knew each other for a long time. You've been the same. Like it's always been love. It's always been, we bumped into each other different times of life, man, and it's always been positive. Also, I just want to say that you're a person of our generation that really put it in, really represented for Bushwick and just Brooklyn, period, man. You've also ushered in a lot of writers behind you after you came into the game. A lot of the MBK writers you done like put on platforms where, you know, y'all got busy. Your dudes that was younger, dudes that was, you know, you was the general of what was going on. So shout out to everyone that I seen you like really lead correctly, and you know, I applaud everything you've done. But now to see you in the media space, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Please talk to me about, you know, for the people who might not know who you are, talk to them a little bit about your background first on, like, you know, before Graff Champs.
Alright, yo, so I'm SR, MBK, you know what I'm saying, from Bushwick. That's where it all started, in Bushwick, you know what I mean? Growing up, you know, it was the crack epidemic, the fucking drug era, you know, it was a lot of bad things happening in the streets, but at the same time, hip hop was like starting to take shape, and it was, you know, what you had really was like the people that was outside that you idolized, which was the drug dealers, the gangsters and shit like that. In my life, it was the graffiti writers that was around the corner. They had, you know what I'm saying, all the polo and the fucking chains and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I used to look up to them niggas or whatever. So started writing, you know, got my name out there, you know, as the time went on, you know, kept going. You know, going hard, made a name for myself, and, you know, met a lot of fucking people through graffiti, which are, you know, lifelong friends, a lot of lifelong friends to this day, you know, a lot of enemies too also, you know, a lot of good and bad. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And then, you know, now, you know, we're older, and I never thought I would be in the media space ever, but it kind of just happened because one day the first interview I ever did was G Stack and Sense from Uptown. Salute to my niggas G Stack and
Shout
Sense.
to the peoples.
You know what I'm saying? Salute, bro.
You and LV was they crew back in the days, if I'm not mistaken?
UTV.
UTV, true indeed.
Yeah, there you go. So boom, I seen where Sense just came home from doing a long bid, right? And G Stacks posted like all people, you know, asking us for interviews or whatever. Boom, 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 and he shuts it down. So I was like, I hit him up like, yo, could I interview you? Because I just like to hear the stories. I want to hear the stories. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, the first two writers I fell in love with was Scene and Reese because of the spray can art book and the subway art book. I went to the book fair. I was like in the 3rd grade, and I came across those books. And I stole. That was the first thing I remember racking.
Me too.
The first thing I ever racked was the fucking spray can art book from the book fair. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I looked at these guys like superheroes. That's when I started really paying attention to the names on the trains when I used to go, you know, with my mom, wherever, you know, after I seen that book and shit. So now these niggas become superheroes to me. You know what I'm saying? These people, you know, you start building up in your head like, oh, wow, I keep seeing this person's name here and there and there and there. You know what I'm saying? So I always was interested in the history and the stories and who this person is and the things they went through as a graffiti writer, especially as my career went on and I went through a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I was infatuated with the trains because that was the first thing that I saw. But by the time I was able to do graffiti, actually, the trains were over, so I missed it. You know, so that was like, that's always was something that was in my heart that I wanted to do that I would never be able to do. But just to hear the stories and everything, I wanted the new generation and the history to live on and everyone to get an opportunity to hear the story of how their favorite writer came up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The same way I looked at them as superheroes, a lot of other people, you know, looked at me as, you know, we all, you know, peers, you know. So I never thought it would happen. I just, on a whim, I asked him if G Stacks, I asked him if I could interview him, and he like, yo, you one of us, of course I'll do it. You know, salute to him. He didn't have to do that. It's all because of him. Graff Champs, you know, it started. That was the first interview. I never interviewed anyone in my life before that.
That's a powerful first interview. The brothers, they're from Uptown.
Yes.
And they was killing everything.
Everything.
I just recently seen a whole G Stack, because he used to do the GS2. I just recently, after an event I was at, I forgot where I was at. When the event was over, I'm going to tell you where I was at. I was on Central. I was on Central at something called First Live. And when I was walking away, going towards the walking up Myrtle, towards the White Castle and the Burger King, there's a wall that has a gate in front of it, but there's a G Stack and Sense. You could still see it on the wall. I said, holy shit, like clean. Like, no, like it was faded, but it was still vibrant. So that was a great first interview, man. Those are people that not everyone gets to speak to.
Exactly.
So that's what makes it worth something, you know. Shout out to those brothers, man. When you first thought of this concept, like after executing, what was your vision for it? Like now that you stepped into this space, what was your vision for Graff Champs?
All right, so I got the interview, right? Boom. So now I'm talking to wifey after I do the interview, and I'm like, wow, like I think, like I want to try to get like the people that I looked up to, all these people, you know, even the ones that I never met or knew. I want to try to get in contact. I want to hear the stories now. And she was like, yo, you should do it. Like, wifey was like, you should do it. Because she really don't give a fuck about graffiti, you know? Mm-hmm. But this was one of the things that she was like, oh, shit, like, I really think you could do this. You know, this is something up your alley or whatever. So I tried the second interview was Rhino and Joust. Salute to my Cajun brothers.
Shout out to the bros. Shout out to the bros.
Yo.
Both of them.
Yeah, so once I got Rhino and Joust, I was like, wow, I did it with them. Pause. I did the interview with them, and it came out. It was just generic. It's natural. We're talking, and the reception, it's easy because I've done the same thing they've done, so it's not like I'm not like a third party person that don't know, what they're
forcing
talking about.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just talking and they understand that I understand and vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Because we're air likes, so it was just so easy and fun. I was like, it's fun. Basically, to hear the stories, I want to give it on to the fans or the supporters, I should say, the kids that's coming up. Like when I was little and I saw a video Graff for the first time, you already know that makes you want to bomb. That makes you, that turned a lot of kids into writers. When I saw Beat Street for the first time, I was like, oh, this is how they write on the trains. Like, I want to do it. I never actually saw anybody do it, but now in the movie, I seen, he's in the tunnel, whatever, boom, he chases spit, all of that. And I was just like, wow, I really want to do this, So then, shout out to State Your Name. State Your Name came out, you already know. Salute to them. They came and reinvented it again, when we was already adults, and then they turned the adults that already had stopped writing into animals again, brought back a whole wave of...
What year did State Your Name around? I'm not exactly...
It has to be between like 2007, 8.
I was in prison
like
when it came out, and
2005, 6,
yeah,
7,
a lot of writers that from our generation I seen was like ran State Your Name, man.
Yes. So salute to them. They came.
Shout out to them.
Yo, bro, they put a fire in graffiti again, with that. And then, I was honored to be, to get interviewed by the Vandal Hour years ago when you first started, and that was one of my first interviews.
I remember that day.
And
the bandana kept falling down.
Yeah. Yeah,
I watched it recently too.
So to get interview, and shout out to the Alski show, OTC, and I saw it's not easy to interview someone, and you have to be prepared. You see, like you set up and everything. You already know what it takes.
Sure indeed.
I took pages from all of you guys' book or whatever. So I got to shout out to my Stray 16 family, because Stray, the owner of Stray 16, he gave me, called me right after the first show. Yo, you have to do this, you have to do that. You cannot read the comments when and he gave me a lot of tips. Shout out to my Stray 16 family, bro. So I got a lot of help. Once I put up the first episode, people just came. Yo, shout out to my boy Dios Diablo for the ill crazy intro. He gave me all the intros. He rapped. I got like 3 or 4 intros from him, and they're legendary. People know that it's like a song, F Boom. You know what I'm saying?
The family,
my brother F Boom. He does
CNS.
commercials for me, beats, all of that for Graff Champs. You know what I'm saying? Joe 21. Graff Champs wouldn't even exist without my brother Joe 21. So as I did the first few episodes, he comes in, all right, yo, now he starts doing commercials for me. I never had commercials like with videos and sound, and he starts advancing it for me, and then he starts helping me. Basically, without him, he's one half of Graff Champ. Shout out to my brother Joe 21, bro. And there's a lot of people that help me. My brother Damp, my brother ESF, Jimmy, Nico.
The people.
Everyone, yeah, they all help me. Yo, you should do this, you should do that. Yo, I could get this person for you. I could get that person for you. All the advice and help that I get from them, it made it possible for that to happen.
It takes a machine to move an idea. It takes a machine to move an idea.
That's a fact. Yo, and I was doing it just off my phone like that. My wifey, shout out to wifey. She's the one who got me the laptop and the tablet and the backdrops, and she's the one, bro. And, help me make merch and all of that.
You need those type of people in your corner. You need those type of people helping move that idea. You could move the idea yourself by yourself, but it's going to take a whole lot of time to do it. But when you have a team that surrounds you, it makes it much easier, and it makes you able to move faster than what you would do by yourself. So shout out to all your supporters, man, that's helping Graff Champs become what it is. How did you come up with the name Graff Champs?
I don't even know, man. We was just we was talking, me, F Boom, and Stray from Stray 16, trying to come up with a name, and we was throwing around names, and you know, they wanted me to put nothing but kings, which is, you know, MBK, one of the first meanings, the original meaning of MBK, nothing but kings. And I was like, but I don't want people to think that I'm doing this because I want any type of fame or clout or to, you know, advance my name in any single way. So I don't want to put MBK or SR anywhere, because it's not. This is not SR. Forget about SR. This is Graff Champs. This has nothing to do with SR.
And I understand that. Me being a person who write, also a person who produce other pieces of content creatively. And so I don't like, give an example. I don't say mathematics is doing this. I just put the brand out, and you either, some people know that I did it myself, or you don't know. I have multiple brands. Oh, shout out to this new shirts we got for S.STREET Media, stuff like that. It's not Math's S.STREET Media, it's S.STREET Media. You know, for those who know, you know. Shout out to Sosa, who's also one of the owners of S.STREET Media. The Vandal Hour is similar. It wasn't my story or YNN story. It wasn't DKS story. These are the people who I'm closely attached to. It became a universal platform for anyone to come on and who could tell their story. It was a place where the voice of the voiceless began gain a voice. So that's what the Vandal Hour was. That's what how I looked at it, you know. But now that you're stepping into this position as a media person, how was that transition, man? Do you study other personalities? How are you mastering this space that you're now in?
That's funny that you ask if I study other personalities, because I do watch Drink Champs. I watch the Math Hoffa shit. I watch a few podcasts and stuff like that. And definitely every time we go live on Stray 16, you know, the way Stray interacts and the way he's prepared with the questions and the way he could roll with the punches and everything, because this is live. You have to be prepared, and you have to be on your toes. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you don't want to disrespect anyone. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And if people are leaning towards saying the wrong thing, you gotta learn how to maneuver that.
Them.
Exactly. It's a lot of things, you know, because you want to keep on. You don't want people to think of Graff Champs, oh, that's they went on there and look, it caused all this beef, or look what happened. He went on Graff Champs and said this, and this happened or that happened. That's not what Graff Champs is for. You know what I'm saying? Graff Champs is to advance the history, all the good in the history, and the I'm not going to say positivity, but I'm going to say no negativity. We don't spread no negativity. We don't harp on it. I don't talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. We're just all about the history itself.
So, you know, one of my questions I was going to ask you, are there any questions that you stay away from, you know, when you're interviewing a writer?
Yeah, most of the time, they already know if there's something they don't want me to ask them or talk about, they're going to tell me. But for the most part, everyone knows that Graff Champs is not about beef, because a lot of times, like I said, since it's live, things have happened, things have been said, things that I had to learn from that. I had to learn how to, oh, shit, next time this happens, I have to say this or do that, you know? People, you know, threaten each other. I'll jig you in the neck, all types of you know what I'm saying? Shit has happened, and people have started ragging each other, or, you know, it happened before. And I never wanted to look like it happened because of Graff Champs, you know? So For the most part now, it's been A-okay, but the first couple of seasons, we're in our third season.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. People can't make it off 2 months. So the 3 seasons is how long? About 2-3 years?
Yeah, actually Graff Champs, our first episode was January 16th, 2001, right in the beginning of the year.
So you're going on 3 years.
3 years, exactly. So the way it happened, I didn't even plan it like this. So we started off with G-Stacks, the first episode. So as the end of the year came, I was like, well, I do one every other week. So it's like 2 episodes a month.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm giving content. So the first year I did 20 shows, and sometimes I have 3-4 people, 2 people, and I make sure I do a rapper, at least one rapper every season. So the first season I had Nems, and literally like a month or 2 later he did the Bing Bong and he exploded.
Oh wow.
So we got Nems right before he exploded, and it was just such a dope ass conversation, bro. Shout out to Fuck Your Life Nems.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Fire. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, this year was phenomenal. So I gotta end off the year with, you know, a big writer. So that's what happened. Who did I end off the year with? Oh, JD BTW. Shout out.
That's the bro.
Shout out to JD BTW, bro. He lit up the comments was lit up, the views was up.
What's his nickname with the Richmond Hill? He got I forgot what it was.
From Richmond Hill, definitely.
It be going down where you be saying like, yeah, it gets real in Richmond Hill, like that type of shit. Yeah.
So now the second season came, and I'm like, okay, so I gotta start the year off big, boom. And the second season I started off with OJ, FYC, big OJ. Shout out to OJ.
Big interview,
crazy big. So now, you know, in that interview, GNS had made some comments in the comments to OJ, and they started back and forth on the live, boom, boom, boom. Then it led to a ragging war that happened. You know, I'm not glorifying this. I'm just saying what happened.
The reality.
Shout out to both of them. Those are both my brothers. I know them for years and years and years. OJ, salute to you and GNS. They were both on my show. But that was the first instance that I was like, holy shit, like these niggas is really out killing each other's shit. And I was like, I have to be ready next time. I can't let that happen.
I'm gonna give you one from the Vandal. I have many. I'm not gonna say I have many. I have a few, right? So I'm gonna give you one. I'm not saying no writers' names, but a writer from the Bronx was coming to the Vandal Hour, and so before he was coming on the Vandal Hour, I asked him. I said, "Yo, do you want me to advertise?" I said, I think that we shouldn't advertise because he's in the mix of a lot of drama. So I said, I don't think that we should advertise. He like, nah. Advertise my shit. Like he made it very, he put it out there for me to do it. So when we did it, so people already had been to the Vandal Hour at that time when we was at DTF Radio. People knew where the Vandal Hour was at.
They could come right outside.
So when the person in a car, so the ops knew the car too. So when he came off the BQE, they started following him, and it became a little car chase where the person actually crashed. And police came and all that shit. It was a big thing, and the person actually thought that I set it up. That's the crazy part. I had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. That's why I'm not gonna say no names, but it became that serious. Like big car crash over by the BQE. Wow. It's crazy. So it could go left, and that's just. But even if you wasn't doing Graff and you was doing motherfucking just interviewing street politics, like people who's important in the streets, you'll go through the same thing. And there's always going to be that hate. There's always going to be a person who's on the opposite side of the coin. So that just comes with what we're podcasting. It's very direct. They could talk to you in your comments. They could DM you. They could find you online. This is real shit. So yeah, that I think that comes with it. You know, speaking of you working with Straight 16, we interviewed Straight 16 for the Vandal Hour during the pandemic. Make sure you check that out. Great interview. You do music also, and a lot of you do a lot of interacting. I see you a lot on their page. Yes. As SR, also Graff Champs. You interact a lot. How is that relationship? And where do you see that going? Do you see your bringing something to the table of like networks or something? Like where do you see this going? Where y'all two?
First of all, Graff Champs is that's my family right there. They brought me back. You know, it's a MC. It's for those who don't know, Straight 16 on Instagram is a rap platform. You just spit your verse. You're 16, whatever it is. Boom, you send it in, and the fans rate your bars. You know what I'm saying? There's a rating system, 1 to 5 flames or whatever. Through that platform right there, I met a lot of great people. Excuse me. Then we had a live event recently, a few months back, where all of these people from all over the country got to meet each other and be in the same place for the first time together.
Wow.
People that have battled each other, heated battles, all of that, because you could battle on Straight 16, or you don't, you could just spit a verse and your song. We go on live. We break down people's albums, do listening parties. They do skits. It's a retarded platform, bro. They have a lot of good things going for them. And so they're hip hop. So Graff Champs and Straight 16s is, it goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So they support me to the death, and I support them to the death. And besides the Graff Champs, I didn't rap no more for years, and they brought me back. And it's not rap to try to blow up, anything like this. Just rap to have fun, because I'm an artist, in every sense of the word.
The love of the motherfucking genre.
Yes, I draw, I rap, whatever. I'm just a creative person. Most graffiti writers or artists, do multiple things. You know what I'm saying? And this is just one of the other things I do.
Recently, we lost a brother by the name of Nep TCH. A person who, whenever I refer to him, I say his tag is definitely in the DNA of Brooklyn and NYC. How was your relationship with Nep, and how did you feel when he passed?
Rest in peace to my brother Nep TCH. I knew him since the early 90s, and I met him through KED. Salute to my whole KED family. You know what I mean? Greenpoint, all of that. I met him through them. And, he's just always been an A1 brother, bro. Chilled with him multiple times. Even Graff Champs, he tried to help me get, I just called me out of nowhere. Yo, what up? It's Nep. Yo, I could get this person for you, that person for you. Even up to the moment that he passed, he was involved with everyone like that. There'll never be another dude like him. Yo.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I've knew him since probably about 10 years old. Before the tag Nep, actually, which is a lot of people can't say that, but like deadass, his tag was Snoopy originally. People who's from Williamsburg, y'all know what I'm talking about, John. But I knew him for a long time. Was I a person that hung out with him every day? No. But our bond is real deep. Me and him had a real deep bond, but him and my cousin Hops, shout out to Hops, DKSYNN, he also had a deep relationship with him, also being the fact that they went to Washington Irving together. So I knew him, Nep, because he went to St. John's, a school across the street from my projects originally, a church, not a Catholic school, like some religious school across the street from my crib, and that's how I meet him. And he's always been very much into Graff. no matter where his life was going, because his life was in so many different types of places, he always stayed true to the tag. Even before he passed, I just seen a tag of his, like a marker tag somewhere I was walking past, some new shit. He was like day to day with it. It wasn't something like a person like myself who it's a part-time thing. He was full-time with it. And so one of my last bombing partners, we used to go bombing a lot, me, him, Louis Love, did a lot of work together. And he said bomb in a not a BMW, a Mercedes Benz he had. He had a Mercedes Benz, and we used to go bombing in the Benz, and it used to be paint on the doors and all that shit, and he didn't give a fuck. He had his beard right there, and we was catching shit in front of police. He was very that type of person when it came to bombing. No boundaries. Very, very attack. So rest in peace, Nep. You know, as a person who also, you're a person who, if you know, your interviews is great. I watched a couple of episodes. I believe you interviewed ZD. ZB, pardon self.
Yes.
You interviewed ZB. Great interview also. If you had an opportunity to interview 5 writers, dead or alive, who would those people be? Dead or alive?
Ooh. Yo, that's Sane Smith is definitely one of them. Sane. Boom. That'll be number one right there. Boom.
Before you go into anything else, why Saint Smith for you?
Oh my God, yo, he's one of those dudes, bro. Coming up, he was everywhere. If you're on the Triborough Bridge making a turn, he's there on the turn. If you're taking the subway, he's there. Like the train stops, he's there in the tunnels. He's on the trains. He's out. He's everywhere. If you go to the freights, he just has a random, big Sane fill-in.
Prolific.
And he did different styles. It wasn't just the same. The point of graffiti is to, at first, before you start evolving, because everything evolves, is to do the same thing repetitive over and over and over again, so people see it and recognize your name. Once your name is recognized, and it starts evolving. You start feeling yourself.
Trendy.
So yeah, bro, he's one of those dudes, bro. And then he went out doing, rest in peace to that man. He
doing Graff.
Doing what he loved.
And I remember, I was in high school when that happened. That's 90s somewhere. And I remember that being in the newspaper. That was huge. Who else? So you got Sane. Who's your other 4?
Sane, I love OE. TMD, bro. You already know. The throwy, phenomenal. It set a bar. That throwy set a bar. People still use that lettering to this day. Yes.
Obama's bomber.
Yes, he hit trains and streets.
Yeah, Obama's bomber without question. I would definitely choose that person as an interview. So you got 2 people. Who's your third?
I would do Ghost, of course. Ghost, Wrist Mob, and shit. That's one of my favorites.
So I gotta ask you, what would be your direction in interviewing Ghost? Like, what would be some of the places you would go in that interview?
I would ask him, did he ever think that it would get this way, and you would be revered as such a big, because he's from the throw up to the video Graff, watching him bomb, that right there, him specifically, just him with one color, when he's just doing the filling on the train, the dusty filling, does the outline with the white, and then he fills it in with the white. It keeps going and
Fast.
going. Oh my God, that was just
The Ghost Yards, when they in the Ghost Yards,
yes,
that's that one.
And Carl West asked him, "Oh, how long we gonna be?" He says, "Oh, till the paint runs out." You know, and it's like, oh, yo, you wanna be,
Classic
you wanna,
line.
yo, that's
Classic line.
Yo, Ghost is that dude, bro.
I agree, and even in video Graff, how they masqueraded his voice, it made it even like more mysterious. You know, yeah, he's definitely a person. So you got 3. Who's your 4th?
I would love to interview Lady Pink, bro. Lady Pink, man. She's the ultimate, bro. To see her in a movie, you know, you can see her up in the tunnels. You know, you already know the work she put in. She started the wave. She is the wave.
She is the wave.
She is the wave. Lady Pink, bro. I love her to death. And for her and Smith as a couple, that's the powerhouse couple. Smith and Pink.
I forgot that part of the equation. Yes, you're right.
That's Jay-Z and Beyonce right
That's
there.
A fact.
The Graff
That's a
world,
fact,
bro.
That's a fact. Yeah, I agree with you. So that's your 4th and 5th, or you going with 4th and 5th, or you going with Lady Pink? Who's your final one, man?
The final one I have to say is The Wiz, man. Rest in peace, is The Wiz.
Ooh. That's a deep one. That's a deep one, man. Definitely prolific.
Yes.
Prolific.
Straight letter throwy, ahead of his time. Like, he's from the beginning. From the beginning is The Wiz to the day he went out. Is The Wiz. Is The Wiz.
That's a fact. Is The Wiz. You picked 5 powerful ones.
And give
me an alternative. Give me an alternative.
Yeah, I just want one backup just in case. It will be Kez 5. Rest in peace, Kez 5.
Rest in peace, Kez 5. Oh yeah. 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 I see where you going with it. I'm seeing where you going with it. I'm gonna say one person that he's not here no more. I want to say 2 people though, but one of them is not here no more, and very influential to me when I was young.
I was gonna say LC for Crew.
Oh, true indeed.
That was one of mine too, bro. I wish LC and Asp were both alive.
And we spoke about off camera. Definitely, that would be a great interview. I don't think there is any Asp interview that I've ever seen. Yeah, he's definitely one. I'm going to say one of mine, and I'm just going to say one. And the reason why I'm choosing this person, he's no longer here. I find stuff on Instagram on him all the time. I always look him up. This is a person who I barely even talk about to anyone else. But as a Wansburg person, he was so influential to me. I could go through a few people, but this one person, his tag was Baron.
Baron, Baron.
And no lie to you, I'm not going. When I was young, he had like a very distinctive style.
He used to do straight letters.
Yeah.
He used to do a lot of freight trains and stuff like that.
He was like the Ghosts, the Free Fives, the Wolves.
Baron.
You know,
throwback.
Yeah. And one of the people he used to write with, who I stole his end when I was young, NATO.
Oh wow, NATO RA.
Yeah.
NATO.
What you call it? Them two, back in the Peace Factory days, they like had some like real crazy shit there. But then later to see them in Queens a lot, NATO a lot on the 7 line, a whole lot of stuff. And in Williamsburg and Bushwick area, you could find a lot of hidden Baron shit. Baron was doing like these weird spots before it was being done. So I've seen like he was doing stuff like Wombat does on the roof. Also, so I found a lot of those. If you over there by the Bushwick projects over there somewhere. There's a lot of there's a few barren joints, old stuff there. But that person I would love to have interviewed. Man, he was, to me, very, very influential. And one of mine is, of course, Vifa. I think Vifa.
Of course, bro.
I think, to me, outside of bombing, just his approach. I liked the weird looking lettering in Graff. As I told Slash last week, the Wolves, he named somebody Reese or Rias. Very, very, that style, the Ghost, even, and I said last week, a Noxer, very distinct. They go left in just their approach, color-wise and everything. But Vifa has that approach also in the aspect of the writing. His writing was very, what writing looked like in New York, he wasn't doing. It looked as almost like California, well, a lot of California, how California writers write. I can't explain it, but it's very outside of the Vifa itself, but the VFRs, he got real like crazy with it, like how his approach to the tag and also to the throw up, very they'll call it non-style now. Like, that's what they call it as a style. He was kind of like not to say they didn't have style, but very eccentric stuff. But those would probably be the three that I would interview. The mechanics of your show. You're doing your show live. As you said earlier, very difficult when it comes to podcasting. It's not an easy thing. You got a lot of things you got to deal with. Wi-Fi. You got to deal with. It's live. It's going on right now. Drops sometime. The technical difficulties
happen to me many times.
So tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly to producing a show that's live on Instagram.
It's not easy. It's just like you said, everything you mentioned. The Wi-Fi could have the freezing and buffering. You never know when that's gonna happen. It could happen at any time. So wifey got me a separate Wi-Fi box, but it could still happen regardless. Then even surprise stuff, noise that happens behind you, you know what I'm saying, wherever, you know, a lot of things, bro. People not being able to log on, you know, that happened to me. Oh, this desk, we can't see him because he is unable to join.
Oh, wow.
That happened like 2 or 3 times already. So Stu, I had the whole commercial. Stu AOB, shout out to my brother Stu.
Shout out to Stu AOB.
You know what I mean? That's my brother. I had the commercial rocker for a whole week. Everybody was all amped to see him. Then boom, couldn't get him on. You know what I'm saying? Same thing happened with my brother Sivo from Queens. Couldn't get him on, you know, right at the last minute. Or people just backing out right before the thing. Oh, I can't do it, or I'm not gonna do it.
How you feel about a person who backs out? Because that used to get me very upset. But how you felt about it?
Me too. It got me upset too. But you have to learn that at the end of the day, I'm asking a lot of these people for favors, and I don't know them from a hole in the wall. And a lot of them get money through art. They get money just for being themselves. Like Cope. When me and Cope did an interview, first of all, I had beef with Cope for years.
Oh, wow.
You know? And he didn't have to do my show. I asked him one time, and he was like, let's do it. And we had a great, open, honest, out in the open
dialogue.
It was beautiful. He's the top 3 interviews that I've had already, and I'm already up to 52 shows. You know what I mean?
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Cope is top 3 interview.
What, in your opinion, what made that a good interview?
The way some people, you have to drag the answers out of them. They give you, we're here to be interviewed. Like if you ask me a question, I give you 1-word answer, 2-word answers. What is the point? You know, like I have to drag the whole, you know, if that's what's going on. I'm trying to drag the story out of you no matter what, you know. So me as a journalist, I have to find the way to make you speak, you know, because if we do the 2, 3, 4, 5 word answers, this will be over in 15 minutes. That's it. The interview's over. Good night.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So in that interview,
he had the sickest stories. It's Cope. Nobody could tell the stories that Cope could tell.
No matter what.
So he's telling stories about being with Case 2 at the writers bench and having beef with T Kid and yo, his stories were phenomenal. Yo, salute to Cope. He's a motherfucking GOAT.
Yo, who's your other 2 interviews that you feel is in that same place? So you said 3.
Soul TNS. Oh my Lord. He was a 3-hour interview.
Get out of here.
3-hour interview, just straight. And you know, so when it gets dry, you gotta know how to manage it. You know what I'm saying? But some people want to keep talking, but they ain't saying nothing. You know? You already know what it is. So it was 3 hours. It felt like 1 hour, but he's telling phenomenal stories.
What's some of the things that you got into in that interview?
So he's from LES, right?
Sure,
so
indeed.
he's from the 70s, you know, from the 70s, early 80s and everything. So he's around in an era where a lot of people like Andy Warhol and a lot of real famous people are starting to get their feet wet in the art world. He's around at that time.
That's crazy.
So he runs into these people and he hangs out with them and he goes to their art studios as they're coming up, and it's just so freaking mind blowing. Andy Warhol tells him, "Oh, catch a tag on these 10 canvases," and he comes back a week later and he gives him $8,000.
Wow.
You know what was $8,000 in 1980? Whatever. That's just like 50 G's.
Wow.
Phenomenal stories. So TNS is, yo, it's, you gotta, whoever didn't see that episode, go to our YouTube page.
I'm going to check that out tomorrow for sure.
Yo, and he has another story about Vfer. So he's in a cab and he's waiting for someone in a cab and the cab and he's just waiting and waiting. So while he's in the cab, he gets out of the cab and catches a tag, comes back in the cab, and the cab is like, "Yo, you write So TNS?" He's like, "Yeah, why you write?" "Yeah, I write Vfer." And the cab driver is Vfer.
Wow.
Is that
That's
sick?
a crazy one. That is, I know
they
just
start
blew my
bombing
mind.
together.
Pause.
They start bombing together and everything, you know, like it, and he's telling the stories, and it's just, we were just talking about Vfer. Like, I wish
That's
I could
crazy.
interview Vfer. Just
that's
like,
yeah. That's one of my. That's the one that I gotta get. And he has his hands in a lot of things, man. Like stuff that interacts with hip hop. So like his story outside of Graff is deeper than that. I know people who know him, and he's been involved in a lot of different things outside of Graff. You know, do you ever see yourself taking the show from being a live show on Instagram to studio?
I don't know, because the way I do it now is just fulfills every need, you know, like it fulfills my personal need, you know, and I'm giving to the culture the way I feel. The whole reason is to give these stories to the culture so it could live on. Once it's on the internet, that's it. It's a wrap. Look, rest in peace, Dover. You know, I feel like this is essential for a lot of writers to do, because we interviewed Dover, boom, then he passes away. You know, if he wouldn't have got interviewed on Graff Champs, you would have never been able to listen to Dover speak. You know, there's nothing else out there. You know, and Dover is a person that you want to hear speak. He was a New York City street killer.
He killed shit. He killed shit.
You know, so this is essential, bro. Like, there's a lot of writers that has said no. And I just want the stories to be told, because you never promise tomorrow, bro. You could be gone, you know? Like, if I run into J.A. right now, I'm going to ask him, "Yo, what's up, bro?" Even though I know he's going to say no, because, you know, a lot of these people,
the mystique. They keep
the
their mystique.
Yeah, the older school writers, they want the mystique. The newer writers, we want to be, I want everybody to know who I am. You know, there's nothing wrong with each one. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever floats your boat. But I'm gonna ask because the culture wants to fucking know, bro. I want to know. Wouldn't you if it came out right now? Oh, Graff champs, we got JA. Would you?
Oh, that's gonna
that's gonna break the fucking
the internet. That's a fact. That's a fact. I got to interview a few people that passed away, which is kind of like the whack part of this job, because yes, we are documenting these stories, but at the same time, like when they leave us, it's like, damn, you was on the show. Like near KGB, and it was not shortly after. RE 357. Another crazy one, the Peoples. Rest in peace to both of those brothers, man. I could keep going too.
But look, I was on the phone with Vamp, and he's in the hospital. Rest in peace, Vamp. He's in the hospital. Yeah, nah, I'm fucked up. As soon as I get out the hospital, we'll do it, da-da-da. I call him back. Yeah, nah, I'm still in the hospital. I'm like, word, da-da-da. Then he passes away. Same thing with Rest in peace, Rush. I'm on the phone with Rush, like, yeah, da-da-da, what's up? And he's like, nah, talking in interviews is not really my thing. I don't know what to say. I'm like, don't worry about it, bro. I'm gonna bring the stories out of you. Just trust me. And I'm talking to him. Boom, he passes away.
That was a story that needed to be told. Both of those.
Both of them.
Rush was in our time. Acid, there was the crew that they was pushing.
Acid, yes.
Them dudes was no joke, man. No joke.
Deco and Rush, yeah.
Yeah, no joke. And their story needed to be told. I'm glad that there's entities like Videograph that began the process. A lot of people who are not here, you will never get that story again. You will never know the inside of their mind. You'll never know the inspiration. You'll never know how did that love of looking at it become to the love of doing it. And that's a lot of people like Graff. They be like, oh yeah, that shit is dope. But very few actually pick up a spray can. And so when you see a person who dedicates their life, the Cas 5s, the ASP, these people who dedicated their lives to this culture and they leave. Like, I just watched, just speaking of this, of what we're talking about, I just watched the Cas 5, like his last statement before he passes, I guess. He videotaped himself, like what Graff means to him. I'm not gonna lie to you, that shit was powerful. Like, it was one of those things that I probably watched, like when I bumped into it by mistake. But when I watched it like 10 times. And I got goosebumps even thinking about it. But his definition is a universal definition. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's maybe things that people differ on, but the essence of what he said was so powerful to hear his perspective, like, and that perspective that drove him to be great in the culture. You know what I mean? I can't talk about what he did in his life outside of that. Like, that's not my place. But what he did in the culture, he pushed it forward.
And people should mind their business too, because it's just like rappers, it's just like freaking movie stars, whatever. Anybody that you like, any type of entertainment, anything. If you knew who they were or what they did in their personal life, you probably wouldn't like them either. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do with that. It has to do why is the reason you like Cas 5? The reason you like Cas 5 is because he kills shit and because he don't give a fuck, and that nigga will call you, he'll cross you out, he'll bomb with you one day. He is the epitome of graffiti. You know what I mean? So that's what you love Cas 5 for. Everything else, that shit is, you can mind your business.
That's a fact, man. And no matter, and now there are times when I bump into stuff that he did, and no lie to you, and I hate saying that, I keep saying that, but truth is, he definitely was one of those people that had that different outlook and perspective on what he was doing.
Because he really truly lived graffiti. That's what it is. A lot of us, even myself, you know what I'm saying? I like to talk. I'm glad that we're talking about this real quick too, because we always been pinned against each other. We're like each other's mortal enemies. SR and Kev's 5 don't mix. They always MBK and YKK don't mix. You know what I'm saying? But that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Me and Kev's 5 did have a lifelong battle. You know what I'm saying? But YKK and MBK, that never been beef between them. It's all good, and they all know, and everyone understands it was just a personal thing between me and Kez 5. And sometimes we were good, and sometimes we weren't. You understand?
That's life.
Down to the minute where he was getting chemotherapy and he was going through his thing, and I DM'd him and I let him know, yo, bro, you bigger than this. You could beat this. You're Kez 5, bro. You know what I mean? And I put the bullshit aside, and as a human, I had to let him know that the reason I did that is because he is Kez 5. He's an important part of this whole fucking generation of graffiti and just graffiti in a whole, because there will never be another person like him.
And that's a fact. And here's another way to look at it, too. A lot of the beefs that we're talking about, I'm 47 years old. So if I talk about any beef from the 90s, we talking about teenage years to early young adult. So a lot of this stuff that we so hung up on, and in reality, when you look at the bigger picture, it's so minute. It's so minute. I had a fight with somebody because he stole my style one day. And my man said it to me recently. He's like, yo, you remember blah, blah, blah? And I was like, you fought him and stuff like that. And it sounds so stupid now because I fought a person because he was stealing my lettering. And so we got to, as adults, we got to, look past a lot of that, especially if it was no bloodshed, it wasn't over no money, our families is not involved, stuff like that you can look past. Stuff that, a motherfucker went to prison for, a nigga told on you. I could understand, you holding on to that one, nah, no. I did time with my family because of that guy. That's different, that's different. But definitely when I watched that video, though, it definitely... because I bumped heads with him also as a young dude, even in the later years too. Not nothing crazy, but he definitely was a person who was him, And I remember when we was young, and when I envision Kez 5 in my head, I think of Leonardo DiCaprio, right? And I just have this picture of him when we was young. I remember saying that to myself, he was this dude, man, who. The first day I met him, he pressed me. I'll keep it 1,000 with you. He pressed to me, about my tag. He said it sounded like someone else's tag. People who know, you might know. And I was firm on my shit. Even though he's pressing me, it was him and Def, M.O.B. at the time, who was my close friend, S.A. and Def. Shout out to them if they ever watched the Vandal Hour. Shout out to my M.O.B. Brothers. But he pressed me in front of Def. And no lie to you, he's like, yo, you gotta drop the tag, man. My man shit. Your shit sound like my man shit. You gotta drop it. And I was like, boy, I ain't dropping shit. And that exemplified Graff. I've been to people, I bumped into people where you ask them they tag, they don't even say they tag. I was very... So the fact that he asked me my tag, I said it, he pressed me, that was what Graff was about, So... shout out to the brother, man. They're very, very much a pillar in the culture, especially for our generation. Especially.
Yep.
Is there any way that you could see yourself doing the Graff Champs live? You going to a person's space and interviewing them?
We have a couple of interviews like that. Like when I did the Sticker Kings of New York, Kess, the whole GAC crew, Ribs, Vitor, Dea, Coma. I went to their lab, right? And what they did was they made their own makeshift corner. They got a real fire hydrant, the green boards. They put the stickers up. Yo,
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, they made it look like we was on a street corner, and we wasn't. We were inside their lab, bro. It was retarded. Shout out to the whole GAC crew. That's another thing with these shows. A lot of people, they want to be creative, you know. They don't want to do the same thing as the next person and just sit there. A lot of them be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So there have been a lot of creative things. Astro, the Bat, so many people, and yet to come. I have 6 shows lined up. Shout out to my last guest, which was Joves and the whole TDO, Ava and Doc.
Oh, shout out to those brothers.
Yo, bro, it was a crazy dope conversation, bro. Crazy dope conversation.
And Joves is funny.
Yeah,
Joves is very funny. If you follow him, he's a funny brother. That's my man too. That's my man. Good brother, man. Outside of Graff too. Let me just say, I'm just talking about regular Douglas shit. A good brother, man.
Word. And I just want to say this too. Shout out to Scuff. He was the interview before that. He was our 50th show, Scuff, actually. You know, and that was big for the culture because, you know, Scuff.
Very rare.
Yeah, and just like I said, it was always we've been pinned against each other. So SR and Scuff, for him to come on Graff Champs and show that it's not
that shit
the
is
way,
bullshit.
Yeah, that people think. It was big for me because it opens doors. Because I'm sure that a lot of people that fuck with YKK or are supporters of them, if you know whatever they think YKK don't fuck with, they won't fuck with. You know what I mean? So just him coming on Graff Champs and showing love like that
open up doors.
Open up doors, and it's just big for the culture. And I'm glad that me and him, you know, we done for all of that stuff.
How was that conversation?
It was awesome, bro, to talk to, you know, because that's my boy regardless. But just to do it that everyone could see and hear the passion of all the stories and the history that we have with each other, you know, it was very dope, bro. Shout out to fucking Scuff and the whole YKK, man.
Yo, he's doing a lot of big things, man.
Yes.
A lot of big things, man. Shout out to Scuff YKK, man. I definitely see what he's doing and where he's taking this towards an education level, you know what I mean? And so that's huge, man. A lot of people get stuck in just writing on walls. And very few evolve into something more. Before we get out of here, man, you know, we've been kicking it for a little minute, man. I definitely want to speak to you about the late, great Tracy 168.
Rest in peace to that man.
Rest
bro.
in peace. A motherfucking icon. That's the best way I could say it. Icon. What was your feeling or interaction that you had, whatever Tracy 168, what was that person to you as a person growing up in this culture?
Well, first of all, Tracy is a pioneer. Pioneer.
Great word.
So whoever's your favorite writer, he's their idol, basically. You know, this is one of the guys that was from the beginning that gave style, always spread the love to other writers that was coming up, and he was the culture, bro. Tracy is the epitome of what you call, to the day he died, he was Tracy. He was hitting black books, he would hit spots, he would go to shows, and he was just starting to get his just due. You know what I mean? It's very sad that he had to, you know, be gone, but the mark that he left and the amount of work that he put in and the waves that he created are so monumental, bro. And so this is I never knew him personally. I've seen him in a couple of events. So one event I saw him and I wanted to approach him to be on Graff Champs. But I told myself, damn, this is Tracy, bro, man. You know what? I'm not even going to bother him with it. I'm going to catch him another time. And what happens? I missed my opportunity. And not to say because of selfishness, because, I needed him on my show, because I want views of this, because I want the history of Tracy, that you would have heard him speak on the things. I have a basic, maybe 10 or 12 questions that I ask off the bat that have to do specifically with the person that I'm interviewing, like what got you into graffiti, who influenced you, what crews do you rep, who's your top, because all right, if it's Tracy 168, if I'm talking to him right now, who are your top 10 favorite writers, Tracy? So, and then that's how I learned more history and more history, you understand? Because he's probably gonna say, out of 10, 9 niggas I never heard of.
Facts.
You know, so that's how I learned from people. Like, I learned about so many new writers that were before me through this show, and it just, people need to hear that, bro. And Tracy, it would have been legendary, bro. But you know, I missed my opportunity, and that's another reason why I'm not gonna miss an opportunity. And I don't even care, because some people say, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," and then, you know, I never hear from them again. So I'll keep on and keep on. And sometimes, you know,
that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
you got to be persistent.
Yeah. So, and if it wasn't for the persistence, I have 52 shows. I probably would have had like 30 shows if I wasn't persistent.
You know, it's funny because maybe earlier this year, I have the text. One of my mentors, shout out to Uncle Tone, who's a good friend of Tracy 168. He pulled the interview for me. I didn't even ask. My man knows that I do this show. He's an older dude. He's my mentor in media, and he used to have a Graff store back in the days, like somewhere in the Lower East Side, if I'm not mistaken. And him and Tracy are good friends. So he spoke to Tracy. Tracy said yes. He gave me Tracy's number. I text Tracy once. He responded back once. And then in the following, I never heard from him again. And then I called my mentor like, yo, you gotta talk to him. He said yes, but he's not being very, he's being kind of difficult. I'm not gonna say like negative difficult, but he's
non-receptive.
Yeah, receptive. So better word. Thank you. So I was trying my best. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was like my golden one. I keep saying I'm not gonna lie to you, but I really wanted that interview, not for views,
because of the importance of it,
and the fact that out of the new platforms outside of Videograph, there's no Tracy. So like that to me is very important, and to have a conversation where someone modern, like, you know, some older dudes could interview and be different, but to have a young person interview is the vibe is just different. I appreciate you, man, doing the show. I also appreciate what you're doing. You are pushing the culture forward. I am down with anybody who is pushing what we're doing and what we've done. These people that come from our culture are, to me, they are Greek gods. You know, that's the best way I could describe them. They are Greek gods. They are the Zeuses, the Hercules, the Hades. They are the Apollos. They are the Achilles. That's what Graff is to me. When I look at my influences, they are kings, you know. Shout out to Easy, who I got to meet and to have a great, you know, rapport with.
Easy, I asked him one time, he did it, but he was my 5th show, Easy. And I even interviewed Josh 5, and I interviewed TK. And one thing that really pushed me to keep doing it also is that off camera, before we did the interview, like me and Easy was speaking, and he was like, yo, bro, this is so generic what you're doing. He was like, I love it. He was like, yo, don't ever stop doing it. He said, you got something here. Like, you're really doing something for the culture. He said, I'm proud of that, bro. Keep doing it. And he said, this is so generic. He said, if whoever doesn't do it, he said, they're hating or they don't realize what's happening.
That's what most people, that's a lot of the people are doing. That's what they're doing. A lot of them, not all, but a lot of people, I think that if they had the opportunity, they would be doing it. A lot of people shun it, but then you know, if the right person asks them, they'll move on it, you know. So, you know, it's a lot of politics that's involved in this, you know, but there's politics in everything. You're never in. There's nothing that's going on of value that doesn't have some form of politics that's behind it. You know, whether it be rap music, whether it be Graff, whether it be whatever, there's always some politics, and there's always going to be people that support, and there's always going to be people that don't support. If in math they got something called the bell something, and whatever that symbol of the bell is, like half the people on the other side of each other are total opposites. They are not on the same page. They hate you just cause. And then there's people who's in the middle who you may have to persuade. You may have to, you know, they may be leaning towards the negative. They may be leaning towards the positive. And then there's people that's closer to you that you need no persuasion. They see what you're doing. They with it. I'm fucking with you. And they'll fuck with it. So, like, that's how I look at things now. And it's always going to be, when you walk into a room, especially of 10 people or more, there's always your enemy in that room. Not an enemy that's going to do something, but someone who thinks opposite of the way you think. You know, in every room of 10 people or more, there's the yin and yang to yourself there.
Yep.
So I appreciate you doing the show, man.
Thank you for having me, bro.
I see a lot of great things in your future. Hopefully, we'll have you back as our guest co-host. I want to bring the garden at least once a month, if not once every 2 months. I want to have him come in, sit down with myself, and interview whoever we're interviewing. I like your perspective, and you're definitely conversate and dialogue well. So I see nothing but great things for you in the future, you know, and keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to everyone who's been supporting us. The Vandal Hour Season 9 is on its way. This is episode 2. My man covered it and make it. Things happen. I ain't upset. You know how it goes. Life goes on. I want to give a shout out to all of the Vandal guards and goddesses out there. I want to give a shout out to all the people that helped make this a possibility. Shout out to my man Woody. You see me with the shirt on. Rest in peace to my man Woody Wood, a.k.a. Spazer, Chud, a.k.a. the man on the couch, a.k.a. the Puerto Rican Ed McMahon. He was a person who was a dope artist. He was supposed to be the new host of the Vandal Hour. He was working on everything, practicing his speeches, conversation. He was communicating with different writers. He was designing merch for us. He was doing everything. I just found business cards that he made with the Vandal Hour logo on it. He was just doing so much. He believed in what we was doing. He's the one that wanted me to bring this back, and he's the reason why I'm continuing doing this. Not that I ever want to stop doing it, but he made sure that I recognize the impact that we've done and what we should continue doing. So shout out to my man Woody Wood. If you want to find any of our old episodes, go to S.STREET Media on YouTube. You could go to DTF Radio also and hit up and look up the Vandal Hour. You could Google us. We have the Vandal Hour on scene. We have the Vandal Hour like 8 seasons worth. And we also are available on Spotify, which used to be Anchor.fm, something like that. Now it's Spotify. You can find those episodes there, run those numbers up. Great interviews. We interviewed STEM on the Spotify ones. We interviewed STEM. We interviewed Akinelli. We interviewed ZB also. We interviewed a lot of different people, man. Check that out. Those episodes are available on Spotify, and you can check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, and that is it. My name is Mathematics. That's the guard SR, but that's Graff Champs.
Graff Champs, baby. Graff Champs.
And we are out of here. Peace.